Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Gamecock Central. My name is Kendall Smith, joined alongside of Collyn Taylor, here to talk about Gamecock baseball. Collyn, I cannot resist smiling. I am so excited. We see that big smile you've got too. Gamecock baseball is back. They are ready to go. Opening day is going to be on Friday, 4 p.m. at Founders Park, South Carolina against UMass Lowell. And gauging your excitement, Collyn, I could tell kind of by that face that you're ready for it. But how pumped are you for this season to kick off?
It's funny, you spend January kicks in and you're in the heat of recruiting, football finishing up, and hoops in the middle of everything. And the last thing you want to do is sit there and think about having to cover baseball. But it's 75 degrees outside, the sun's shining, like now you're getting excited. And the opening day is always so much fun. It's great. Everyone's the eternal optimist. South Carolina's going 56-0, number one team in the country, winning the College World Series. And that's what makes it a lot of fun. So I'm ready for opening day. I think this team has a ton of potential. We'll see how that all kind of shakes out over the course of the next 3-4 months. But this is going to be a fun year, I think, as we sit here on February 15th, a couple of days before things really get going.
South Carolina definitely has that vibe around the team this year where you can tell the fans are very excited, and they're excited every year because this program has had so much success, winning a couple of College World Series. But like you said, this year feels a little different, and this team is very tight-knit, and they've been tight-knit for the last few years. And you mentioned the potential that they have, Collyn, and this video is kind of going to be everything that the fans need to know before opening day. So I'd like to start there, the potential they have. And for you, Collyn, someone who's watched them through fall ball, you watch them in these spring preseason scrimmages, what are you most eager to see from this team as they take to the field on Friday to kick off the year?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. There's two things I'm looking at. First and foremost, what does the bullpen look like? South Carolina is going to start Will Sanders on Friday, Noah Hall on Saturday, and then Jack Mahoney on Sunday. That was the one that was kind of in flux there, but Jack Mahoney gets the nod as the elder statesman of the group, and coming off Tommy John. Fantastic story for Jack to get that nod on Sunday. How does the bullpen shake out? You have some really talented pieces. Your James Hicks, your Eli Jerzenbecks, Matthew Becker, Jackson Phipps, Kate Austin. I know I'm probably forgetting a guy or two here or there, but you have pieces. How do they all fit together? Who's your closer? Who's your setup guy? Who's long relief? Who are your midweek starters? What does that all look like when you piece it together? That's one big thing. And you really can't tell with the bullpen until the lights come on, because it's such an adrenaline-packed situation. Once the lights come on, then it's easier to see. But that's one. And then offensively, we've talked about offense for what feels like forever at South Carolina. Is this the year that it might not be Tennessee, where it was last year, where you're hitting 700 home runs over the course of the season? You're the number one team almost wire to wire. But can you take the jump from at or near the bottom of the league in most statistical categories to the middle of the pack? Can you be, this pitching staff is at a point where it's going to be really good enough to win you some games in the league. Can the offense be complementary to that? What does it look like? Is it more pressure on the defense from walks and stolen bases and drag bunts and singles and station to station? Or are they falling back on that power happy thing that you've seen over the last couple of years? So I think it'll be a more dynamic offense. I think you'll see more stolen bases. I think you'll see more hit and runs, first to thirds, scoring from first on doubles. I think you'll see more of that, and it's more left-handed. But what does it all look like when it's together and the lights are on and there's another team in the dugout? The offense is going to be the talking point all year. But I'm interested to see what that looks like and how they kind of mix and match to get your best offense out there without sacrificing some defense at the same time.
Collyn, you mentioned bunting there, and I can't help but laugh because Collyn and I have very stark
Yes,
differences in opinion on bunting in baseball. Collyn, you're anti-bunting.
I am as anti-bunt as you can find. Yes.
I like bunting. I think there are situations in which the bunt is necessary, but you're hoping that if you're South Carolina, like you said, this offense is going to pick up this year. And Collyn, I want to know, who are some of those guys on the team that you think could really help elevate that offense to the next level this season?
Yeah, I'll do it twofold and talk about the guys who were on the team last year, and then some of the guys that came in either in recruiting or through the transfer portal. This core group of sophomores is going to be such an integral part of success. You're talking about Cole Messina, Talmadge LaCroix, and Evan Stone, and Carson Hornung. I'm rattling through there in my head. Those four guys, I would not be shocked to see four of those guys in the starting lineup on opening day. Then you throw in a Michael Braswell, who's competing for a spot at third base. All of those guys were freshmen last year and are expected to take another jump as sophomores and really help this team. And if they do, this offense gets that much better. So you're looking at that core group: Cole Messina, Talmadge LaCroix, Michael Braswell, Evan Stone, and Carson Hornung as those guys. And then from a transfer perspective, Caleb Denny's a dude. Left-handed bat from Oral Roberts, hit over 300 with double-digit home runs. Gavin Casas, another left-handed dude, insane power, is getting his body into a position where he's able to help defensively as well and move a little bit better at first. Then you have Will McGillis, a really scrappy second baseman, hit to contact, can hit double-digit home runs, did it last year. Just a ball player is how I've heard him described. Then you're talking about filling in the pieces after that. Dylan Brewer from Clemson, Jonathan French from Clemson. I'm trying to rattle these off in my head. Jacob Compton, who's banged up right now, has a chance to make an impact later in the season. You're talking about these guys all of these guys are going to make an impact. Then you throw in a Braylon Wimmer on top of that playing short. You throw in a potentially Kevin Madden if he's in the starting lineup, who's coming off an elbow injury, has been kind of up and down offensively. Those are the big names. And then the last one I'll mention from an offensive side of things, Will Tippett, electric freshman, can really put some stress on teams on the base paths, switch hitter, can play. I mean, I'm gesturing towards the entire baseball field, can play nearly every position. Just a really good utility piece to have if you're South Carolina, who can also switch hit, which gives you some flexibility there as well.
Let's talk about some of those new names. You mentioned Will Tippett there a little earlier in the show. You mentioned Eli Jerzenbeck. Opening day coming up. Some of the new names that the fans need to have etched in their mind before South Carolina starts the season.
It's a freshman group that's not going to have a ton of guys in there early. Not to say they won't chisel out a role, but you're talking about Eli Jerzenbeck is future Friday night arm at South Carolina good. Just electric if he stays healthy and continues to develop the way he is. You're talking about a guy that, if he continues the way he is, could potentially move into a weekend rotation spot at the end of the season if he plays the way he does. And other guys might be better in the bullpen. But him, Will Tippett is another one Monty Lee has really been impressed with. Mark Kingston has been really impressed with. Those are two right there, freshmen that are going to make a role, big push. Then Austin Williamson is a pitcher that's bounced back and played a lot better in the, I guess, what would it be? It's not the spring, but the winter preseason, the preseason scrimmages, has pitched a little bit better than he did in the fall. The guy that might help. And then you're probably looking at a few others. I should mention Eli Jones, probably your midweek starter, strike thrower, another sophomore who pitched a little bit last year coming off Tommy John. And Jackson Phipps, a kind of a forgotten name in this group, a left-handed option who's also coming off Tommy John. It's been in the mid-90s. So he's an option there from a left-handed standpoint. And I should also mention Matthew Becker. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier. There's a lot of names being thrown out, but started last year at times, moved back to the bullpen, kind of bounced around. He enters this season with a solidified, surefire role on this team, and I think that's going to really help him instead of being, okay, well, you're a starter this week, you're a bullpen this week, you're a bullpen that week, and starter back here doing this. He had to do that out of necessity last year, and now he doesn't have to, which is good for him and his development in what's a really lefty-strapped. There's not many lefty bullpen options for South Carolina this season.
Collyn, biggest question mark you think heading in to Friday? And I mean from a position standpoint. So we've kind of thought about who is going to be where on Friday, who your starters are going to be. You've talked about it. You wrote about it a lot on GamecockCentral.com. So be sure to check it out, everybody. But that one position where you're like, this one is really going to be up in the air until we get right down to the wire.
It's probably third base, just because there hasn't been, you went into the preseason scrimmages, they call them spring. It's not spring, it's cold. You went into those not really knowing, hoping somebody would separate themselves and it'd make your decision easier. And there hasn't been that separation, at least through the first couple of weeks. So I wouldn't be shocked to see multiple guys start at third over the course of the opening weekend, those first 5 games. When you play, I think it's 5 games in 6 days starting Friday. I wouldn't be shocked to see a couple different options there at third. The outfield's kind of a conglomerate right now, depending on Caleb Denny and Hornung are both coming off fall injuries. They might want to DH them, depending on what that looks like. So third base is really the big one for me from a position standpoint. And then from a lineup standpoint, I don't know who hits leadoff. I really don't. A lot that's going to be dictated on how the outfield probably shakes out, but truly don't know who hits leadoff, and I don't know if there's a prototypical guy outside of maybe a Dylan Brewer, and I don't think he's a surefire guy to be in the starting lineup on opening day. There's not really a prototypical guy like that right now. Now, there might be a separation as the season starts, but I think that'll be kind of trial and error too as you get into the season and see how guys operate when they're in that top spot.
We'll talk a lot more about expectations. We'll talk more about the team as the season kicks off. Opening day on Friday, February 17th, 4 p.m. at Founders Park. South Carolina welcomes UMass Lowell to Columbia. It's going to be a good one. Collyn will be there as always, so you can check out all of our content, all of our updates, analysis, insight over on GamecockCentral.com. I am so happy baseball is back, Collyn. I can't wait. Collyn and I are both baseball fanatics. We are Chicago Cubs fans. We're lefty specialists too. So shout out to any lefties out there. You've automatically got our buy-in. We're biased to lefties. So
you're taught not to have bias in this business.
But if you're
I'm biased with lefties right there.
Special spot in our heart for sure. Yeah, Collyn, it's going to be busy. It's going to be fun. We can't wait. Gamecock baseball, it's always something the fans look forward to all year, and it is back. Thank you, Collyn, for answering our questions, though, before we
go. I want to ask you a question before we go.
Okay.
I need 2 of them.
Okay.
I need your hitter walk-up song, and I need your pitcher walk-up song. Because they're different. They're different. I'm putting you on the spot.
You might ask me that. Okay, they are different. My hitter walk-up song would probably, oh my gosh, I'm getting put on the spot right here. This is so stressful. My hitter walk-up song. So this one guy at Campbell did 1-2 Step by Sierra.
That's good. Okay, that's pretty good.
So I think I would do that one for my hitter walk-up song. And then for my pitcher walk-up song, I really like Take on Me. That's a great one.
I love that song.
What about you?
I really, really love that song. It's tough because there's so many good ones, and I'm an insane person and have a Spotify playlist as I come across them of songs that would make good walk-up songs. So I would go, my pitcher walk-up song would be the Higher Love remix with Kygo and Whitney Houston.
Oh, that's a great song.
Thank you. Thank you. That would be my pitcher one. So you get the actual like warm up to it. And then I think I would go Nelly's Grills for my hitter walk-up song with like that instrumental at the beginning of it. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
So, but I'm an insane person and keep a playlist as I discover new music, and keep track of the ones that I would make. And then I also have a spreadsheet and a Spotify playlist of each year's South Carolina walk-up music over the course of the last 3 or 4 seasons.
I'm very excited to hear the songs this year. Also, The Business by Tiesto, that is a great one for a pitcher walk-up song. I don't know if anybody listens to EDM, but that would be another option. Anyway.
Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. Dolly Parton's 9 to 5.
Love that. We can do a whole separate video on this, honestly. And if you all made it to this point, please comment down below and let us know which pitcher or hitter walk-up song would be. We appreciate you making it this far. Collyn and I honestly could talk about baseball forever. So you'll get to hear it a lot on our radio show. In the Bonus, 107.5 The Game, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Here's that plug.
9 to 10. We're plugging it for sure. And plugging GamecockCentral.com because we've got plenty more Gamecock baseball and other Gamecock sports on there all the time, 24/7. Collyn, thank you so much. Get that Keurig sponsorship. I know you're not going to be sleeping very much in the next few months, but we appreciate you. He's Collyn Taylor. I'm Kendall Smith, and that's everything you need to know before South Carolina's opening day this Friday against UMass Lowell.